Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening from. My name is Chibeza Chama Juliet, and this is the third episode of the story of my life. So, to continue from where I stopped the last time. So, things were so bad, and with the problems and chaos that was going on in the village, I had to follow my husband by fire, by thunder. Though things were so hard for him to, but it wasn't easier for me in the village. So I decided that I must follow him anyhow. Let us manage there. So that was how I followed my husband, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law do not. They were like, I cannot take my first son, and me, I've made up my mind that I am leaving the village, so nothing will keep me back there. So I left, and I left my son with them. I took my second son. So that was how I relocated. So, but when I now traveled and followed him to the glory of God, I found favor in the sight of one woman who sells foodstuffs, and that was how I approached her, told her about my little about myself, and then I asked if I could come over to her shop to help her sell things, and she accepted. Meanwhile, she also needs help because I see the way customers troops into her shop, and so that was how I started going there to help out, and that was how we are also managing, because sometimes after selling things, she will give me foodstuffs to go and cook, and sometimes she will give me money and I'll give my husband. So that was how we were just managing life, and life was going. So, but meanwhile, by this time, when I got married to my husband, I married him as a painter. He he was one of the people that came to paint my uncle's house. So that was how we met. And also, being a pastor's son, he plays keyboard in church. So these were the things that I love. But at this point, my husband has he started another thing. He joined Yahoo. I was so much against it. I In life you can only change yourself. You can't force people to do things. So he joined it. I was against it, but there was nothing more I could do. And also, I started finding out that he's diabolical, like all these native things. So it's nothing to him. Again, I also find out that, as we were staying together, I also find out traces of cheating and all those things. So, and before you knew it, our relationship was affected. This was not the man I married. So all those changes started affecting our relationship. He no longer prays with us. To pray with us is a problem. He doesn't go to church again. He would rather follow friends than take his family to church. So all those things were happening. So by then I was still very sick because I was thinking I was pregnant, because I according to that nurse, she said that the pregnancy was still there. So, and I did not check. So I was carrying bad blood in my system for over 5 months. And my stomach was like, I was still feeling like sometimes that like a living baby is inside my stomach, because the movement and everything, God. But I was getting sick and sick. My color was changing. My whole body system was deteriorating. My health deteriorated. My body system changed. I was sick and tired all the time. I was getting tired all the time, sick to my bones. So, but since there was no money and we were just managing, we are just going like that. until so on top of the management, my brother, because he got admission and he was schooling, and where he lived was almost close to where we live. His own house had an issue. They wanted to renovate it. He had to come and start staying with us in one room, self. So it was really difficult. Things were really so hard. And my uncle by then, the one that was sponsoring our education then, had serious health issues that he had to even go to India for operation. So as at that time, things were so difficult for everybody. Even to go to school was a problem for my brother. So he had to come and start staying with us. We were all managing in one room second. We were all praying to God for a way out, for him to rescue us, to come to our aid. So my brother too, by then, he has also joined my husband. Already he was into it, and that was how we were all hustling inside life. I was just there trying my little best, going to the shop, and that was how we were feeding. Whenever my husband gets money, maybe if we are owing the woman, he will pay her. So things were so difficult, and we were all praying to God for God to come to our aid, especially my brother. I remember that year he fasted and he prayed. He said, "God, it is this year or never. Oh. Is it until we die before God will do something?" And actually, God did something. I don't know the way God works. We can't judge the way, um, as humans, we know when things are right, we know when we do wrong things, but we don't really know how God judges things, because he is the only one who will show mercy on whom he will show mercy on. So not quite long, my brother got a call from one of our brothers who told him to come and start staying with him, and that was how he left. And before you knew it, okay, considering my health issues, it got to a point I was having serious breathing issues, breathing difficulties. I couldn't breathe. I was having serious breathing difficulties. I was having breathing ulcer. I was taking ulcer medications, and so, but it got to that point. I was really dying. I wasn't breathing. That was when my husband had to borrow money and take me to lab, and it was now then that it was confirmed that I wasn't pregnant. For how long? And I've been carrying bad blood inside my system, and I was dying. So it was not then that I started taking medications, because it was covered that I had then malaria. Was it plus? I don't know, 2 or 3 pluses. Typhoid, hepatitis, all sort of things. So that was now when I started taking medication. I started taking things to flush my system. So so I went through all this because of one, carelessness of we were careless. I was careless about my life and health. My husband too was careless about it. And another thing, lack of money. So after taking the medication and all that, it got to a point. I was now trying to conceive, but I couldn't conceive. My system had become so bad. So, okay, I was still going to the woman's shop to help her. It now got to a point her own daughter that was married had issue with her husband, and she has to come back and start helping her mother. So I have to go. So I started staying at home doing nothing, and but by God's grace, before you need my brother, God blessed my brother, and he asked me to open my account, renew my go and fix my account so that he will send me money to open a shop, to start something. So as I was busy running around for those things to get my account ready, and I now found out that like I was started feeling somehow, and I tested and I found out that I've become pregnant again. And also my brother sent me money to open a shop. So and that was two good news at the same time. I was so happy, and life started getting better somehow, better than ever. So that was how I opened a provision store. And but because my husband was not really getting anything, he wasn't supporting both financially, like he wasn't getting money to put in the shop. So we were feeding from the shop, and before you knew it, the shop was going down, and it was. But my brother still was still supporting. He was still adding up, helping the way he could. So, and being pregnant and running a physical shop, it was something else. But my husband was helping out physically to go to the shop because I was pregnant, and we were running the shop. So, but that was how the shop was just going down. Without the support of my brother, it was just going down. But when I now gave birth, finally, now entered my Omugwa season, so the shop was already down then. And my brother, to the glory of God, relocated us to another place, and we had to take the remaining things from the shop to go to relocate to that side. So now we have a spacious place, that 2 bedroom flat. My brother furnished it, and he really tried for us. So, but we didn't have, like, now we have a spacious place, but we still did not have like money. Food was still a problem then, but we were still managing life. But at at least we have a more spacious house for. Okay, by then, we later went and to bring my first son, and even the day we went to bring him, God, it was a battle. My husband had a problem with his father that day. They could to release our child for us was a problem, and but it had to happen by force. Like, I don't know why. So, um, one day my brother told me that he's getting married, and that was the very best news for me. Was a very good news for me because he's my one and only brother. And that has been my prayer. Like, it has been my wish that had it been I was the one that got money, I wanted him to get married earlier because he's my only brother. We are 3 girls and 1 boy. So I was so happy for that. But at the same time, something struck me. My bride price have not been paid for 8 good years, or be 9 years. That was in 2021. So then it was dawned on me that, if I had, that means I will go back to the village because it's happening almost the same time. His wife to be is also from our side, not exactly our side, but it means that I'll have to go back to my village, and it was so painful to me. Not that I was very happy for my brother, but I felt like, oh God, I felt like God have disappointed me. I know that I'm not the best, but I know that I love God in my own broken way. I was like, God, hey, I felt like God have disappointed me. But all I said was, God, let your will be done. So, but before you knew it, my husband started getting money and started giving me money to prepare to buy things in the list, which means as my brother is preparing to go, that we will also do, like, my own bride price will be paid the same time, and this is two good news happening for my family at the same time. I was so happy, and that was I started buying things for the marriage rights. Started buying things for it, but along the line, I found out that my husband was cheating on me. and I was so broken. I was devastated. I was shattered. Even if you have been doing this now, at like this time, this moment, after staying with you for all these years in shame, the pains, the insults. I remember one of my sister-in-law that was also she has been living with my husband's brother for years, and now finally she got pregnant too. But she was privileged. The husband got money to pay her bride price and did the traditional. That was how she came, and she indirectly gave me loads of insults when I gave birth to my second son. After all that, I know the things, the pain, or even that my uncle. Then, if I go back to the village, I will greet him. He will not talk to me. My uncle made me feel less. I like, oh God. So after all that, now that you're about to pay my bride price, you're cheating on me. So by then, we already have 3 boys. So even though he apologized, but I didn't really forgive. I was broke. It was painful. It was so painful. I tore his clothes because that was a conversation. I heard it, and I was so broken. I tore his clothes. I was mad, and I allowed him pay my bride price because we have children, not because I have forgiven him. And we've already fixed it and everything. Even when we were doing the this thing, I was not happy with him. It was heartbreaking. So, but after everything, we came back. I was still broken. I couldn't still let go. I couldn't still forgive that. So, and by then, I was going through so many health issues again. Because after giving birth to that, my baby, it was like everything. My health deteriorated. Like I started going through the breathing difficulties have not stopped. My entire body system changed. My entire body system. So I don't know what I was going through. I was suffering from so many gastroesophagus reflux disease, hepatitis, ulcer, so many things, cholesterol. My entire body system changed. So that was how I was just taking medication like an adult, like an old woman. So by then, that was 2021. I have joined the NSPPD prayer altar, and so when we came back from the marriage rites, from performing the marriage rites, I kept on being broken, wallowing in pain and bitterness, to the point that I went online, and I was like, is it because my husband have started seeing money that he treated me like that? After all this while, now you are beginning to see small money, and you not treat me. I started looking for a way to get my own money, and I started even going online looking for whom to scam myself, who will pay me money. And me, I ended up being scammed of the one I had. I messed up big time. I did something that a married woman is not supposed to do. So, but after everything, I came back. That was when this thing happened. I left the altar, and I now came back to the altar. Then to start, I started praying for God's mercy, because this thing was my naked pictures and videos was involved. I messed up. My husband pushed me to lose my mind. I lost my mind. Whenever I remember, it's like after all these years, and you couldn't respect this moment. That was how I lost myself. So when I went back to the altar, I was praying. 2022 January. We the altar you do 21 days fasting and praying. So during the fasting and praying, I was seriously praying, and just almost about 5 or 6 days to finish the prayers. I don't know how it happened. I found out that my husband was cheating on me again. God. And by this time, he was made. He has bought his car. So, but I forgave him before even confronting him with that. But I was shocked with what happened. My husband was not sorry. He was so proud of himself. He was so full of himself. He didn't care how I feel or how I felt. He treated me like a trash. And then that's another story for another day. I lost my mind again. I lost it totally. He broke me. When I remember how we started, when I remember all the things that I lost, I finished school. I couldn't serve. My mates, everybody left. Everybody have like I am beneath. I am just, and then after everything we've gone through in this marriage, now this, I lost my mind again. So even when my husband find out that, even when he knew that I was speaking with the girl he was trying to cheat with or he was chasing, he didn't even stop. He continued. Like my husband treated me like nothing, and that was how I lost my mind. My cousin brother that I opened up to, tried to talk to my husband treated him like nothing too, because that one does not have money. Hey, and I was like, is it because of money now? The money, my husband started getting money, and money entered his head, and he treated me like nothing. I watched my husband. He just went to bed, slept like a baby, and there was nothing that didn't come into my mind. All right, I'll see you guys in the next recording. Bye.